So, Jack Grealish to Manchester City, we knew. Dany Ings to Villa, don't think we did know. Dharmesh, what do we know about this deal?
This one came completely out of the blue, out of the claret and blue, if you like.
See where you've gone there.
Back to the days.
Stop scoffing in disdain.
Did you prepare that?
I did, yeah. I did test it out with a few others before they did laugh. But this takes me back to when you picked up a newspaper like 20, 25 years ago, and that's how you'd find out the transfer news, or if you put teletext or CFAX on, and you find out your club had signed a certain player. They've kept this one really hush-hush, have Aston Villa, but at 22 minutes to 7, it popped up on their Twitter feed that they had announced the signing of Dany Ings from Southampton. He signed a 3-year deal. They've said it's an undisclosed fee. We understand the fee to be around £25 million. It's their 4th signing of this transfer window, following Ashley Young, Leon Bailey and Emiliano Buendia. We do know that Dany Ings was in the final year of his contract. Southampton did all they can to keep him at the club. In fact, when they sat down with him to try and offer him a new contract, that new contract would have made him the highest paid player in Southampton's history. But he decided not to sign that new contract, and as it stood, it looked like he was going to see out the final year of that contract. But Aston Villa have come in, they've seen an opportunity, and they've managed to buy him. 10 days ago, the Southampton manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl, was asked about a couple of the players who are in the final years of their contract in Vestergaard and Dany Ings. And he had some very interesting things to say, actually, about players who had entered the final years of their deal. He says, look, the whole system for me doesn't work like it should do. He said, meanwhile, players are speculating for being free transfers and then go anywhere they want. The question is, do they make a better step forward, or do they get the chance to go to a big club? And I can understand this. He goes, for the smaller club, it's an issue because we've paid a lot of transfer money, and he specified for Ings we paid a lot of money. For Vestergaard, we did it too. They are sometimes not interested to stay long at a club or go for a very, very long time with a club. Look, the rights or the wrongs people can argue about, but look, Southampton, they did try, they didn't succeed, and Aston Villa have put the money on the table, and we think it's around £25 million, and Dany Ings is now an Aston Villa player, totally out of the blue.
Yeah, incredible. Carve, skating over the breaking news that Dharmesh is old enough to remember CFAX and teletext. Are Villa spending the Grealish money before they've even got it? Is this what it is?
I think Villa are being very, very smart. We've seen in the past when clubs sell players for big money, sometimes it's a bit hit and miss what they do with that money they receive. I'm thinking back to the famous case with Spurs when they sold Gareth Bale. I think they went out and signed 8 players, and a lot of those deals did not work out. Now, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but just looking from the outside in, it looks like Aston Villa are being very, very smart with the kind of deals they're doing. They're being very decisive in the transfer market, and they didn't even wait for the Jack Grealish money before they went out and invested. They signed Buendia, who was the standout player in the Championship last season. Leon Bailey, they signed this morning. Dany Ings, this guy guarantees you goals. I think if you look at his record in the Premier League, he's the 2nd most lethal finisher. I'm not very up to date with statistics, but people who are into stats tell me that he is 2nd in the Premier League. I've seen him play. I've seen him play and score for England as well. When he gets a chance, he takes it. And he was actually close to getting in the England squad for the Euros this summer. So I know it looks like a lot of money, £25 million for a 29-year-old who only had a year left on his contract, but he is going to score a lot of goals for Aston Villa.
Yeah, so a lot of players going into Aston Villa, but Jack Grealish, as we know, pretty close to going out, Carve. Now, this morning, there were other news organisations telling people that Grealish was in Manchester. You did some proper old-fashioned journalism, went and found him. So just talk us through what happened today.
Look, Jack Grealish is going to have his Aston Villa medical tomorrow.
Man City medical.
Sorry, Manchester City.
Steady, my heart just started going then.
Sorry to any Aston Villa fans watching. Jack Grealish will have his Manchester City medical tomorrow. Today, he has spent the day with his Aston Villa teammates who are at training camp in West London. Now, that training camp is not very far away from here. On my way into work, I stopped off there. From a distance, I could see Jack Grealish on the training ground with his teammates. So this is not a question of he's going on strike, he's going to try and force through a move. Not at all. He's been totally professional throughout this whole saga. But now a deal has almost been agreed, and he will be in Manchester tomorrow. And if he passes that medical, then he will become a Manchester City player, and he will become the most expensive player in Britain. The deal is going to be worth about £100 million. Now, some people are saying, why are Aston Villa selling him? They've got a lot of money. They don't need to sell anyone, especially not Mr. Aston Villa, their captain, somebody who's been at the club for 19 years. He's been there since he was 6 years old. I think the issue is two people telling us that he has a £100 million release clause in his contract. So once that was triggered, then there wasn't much Aston Villa could do about that. Other people, though, are telling us that that is not the case. He did not have a release clause. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it would make sense that if he had a release clause, because I think if there wasn't a release clause, maybe Aston Villa would have just said to him, you're not going anywhere. The final point, quick point I would make about Jack Grealish is I don't think he's singing and dancing on his way to Manchester City. Yes, Manchester City are a great club, fantastic history, fantastic supporters, but he's just so close to Aston Villa, and he's been there for such a long time. When you leave somewhere where you've been for 19 years, it is going to be with a heavy heart. I think it is going to be very emotional for him. But then again, you can't say no to Manchester City, and you can't say no to Pep Guardiola.